show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Good there. I think we're up. Daniel, you are in the place to be, bro. How's it going tonight?
It is going amazing, man. Love life.
So you're the co-founder of HiveMind. You do some automation. You did some real estate. You got a lot of shit going on, man. How'd you get involved in all that?
You fall into it just like everything else.
Okay. Well, let's explain to people what HiveMind is first before we start too crazy.
So HiveMind is a business automation platform. So every base of a business needs a CRM. And if you don't have one, you're really missing out because it really helps you with your back-end tasks and follow-up and conversions and a lot of stuff like that. So HiveMind is a CRM software platform to help any business automate in general.
So how do you mean automate though?
It goes a lot of different directions.
Okay.
We can go down the rabbit hole. So it does email, texting, website hosting, forms. You can replace a lot of different things. So an average business uses like 36 different systems just to operate their business.
Sure.
So this kind of brings it all together under one roof. So if you collect payments or invoicing, you can use HiveMind. If you have like a website form for a small business, whether you're a restaurant or a car sales,
sure,
you can build a website front facing to collect information, leads, follow up with those leads when they come in via text and email. Set up a lot of different things. You can sell courses. You can sell digital products.
So there's a lot of back end stuff for somebody, basically, right?
It's like the backbone of every business. You can do a lot of stuff in there.
Nice. So you're the co-founder of it. We all just you and whoever the other co-founder was just sitting down one day discussing some possibilities, some ideas, and this just came about. And you're just like,
it was out of necessity, man. We're struggling with we're doing real estate, so a lot of my clients are real estate investors. We do work with podcasters, stuff like that too. Just like we have calendar integration to set up your calendar, so you don't use Calendly.
Yeah, okay.
Does a lot. It doesn't, no matter what you're doing. Appointment setting, Google My Business integration, ask people to ask for reviews. Like I can do all that stuff. Really. But we're when real estate. So we're investors. We do direct to homeowner marketing. So most of the transactions that are done are usually done with agents. We operate in that small 10% of the real estate market that we go directly to homeowners and negotiate our own deals. So that's how we get better deals. So you see all the HGTV, A&E, and all those fixer upper, they fix distressed homes.
Sure.
We find those properties. That's what we do, and we sell them to flippers. And flippers actually flip the properties.
So it goes out and looks for foreclosed homes, so to speak.
Not even foreclosed. It could be distressed, burned, just physically distressed where it's tall grass. It could be vacant. It could be broken into. It could be bad tenants. It could be tax foreclosures, you name it.
Does it put a value on those houses, or it just says, hey, there's a house here at 101 Market Street, go look at it? Or how does that work? I've always been interested in this stuff, man. So it's just like,
it's
everyone feels like get in a real estate game and stuff like that. So
it's okay. So everybody, if you commute 20 minutes to work, you're going to pass 1,000 properties.
Okay.
but you're not in the real estate space, so you don't actually see them. You just drive past them.
Makes sense.
So now, if you're listening to this, you drive by a property and you see something, maybe a broken window or an AC unit, and you see the AC unit on the side and AC unit in the window, it means the AC doesn't work because they have AC unit too. So little stuff like that, tarp on the roof, tall grass, cars in the driveway, just old beat up cars, or just junkyard type deals, hoarders, trash all over the yard. We're looking mailboxes that are full of mail.
Right. Okay. This ones that are not being taken care of. Right. Okay.
Not being taken care of. No one cares about them. They might have been vacant for 10 years. It might have burned a year ago, and it's just a slab. That's all property that we look for because it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
So what we do is we'll go in with the owner. Hey, you have this burned down house. Maybe it's 50% there. They already got paid up by the insurance. Hey, we'll give you 20 grand for this lot with the half burned down house. And will you take 20 grand? And most of the time, like, yeah, I'll take 20 grand. I already made 200 grand off the insurance. Here, what's another 20 grand? I'll take it. So let's take 20 grand. We then sell it to an end buyer who might tear the whole house down and rebuild a brand new mansion.
I'm with you now. I see what's going on. That makes sense now. Okay.
So we facilitate. We're called wholesalers.
Yeah.
We facilitate a lot of distressed and properties that don't move because of deed problems, airship problems. A lot of people pass away and they have no will. They don't even have heirs. What happens then? It just sits there. So we solve difficult problems in real estate to make money.
So is that part of your day, just kind of riding around looking for places like this? Especially in LA? I mean, I'm probably there's tons out there.
So we can do this virtually. So I invest in, I own property in Georgia. I'm trying to do storage in Georgia. I do stuff in Texas, land all over Texas, and I just live here.
So you're living on, like, was it Realtor, Trulia, Zillow or something? Is that what you're looking for these places on, or is it like bank websites? You don't have to tell us how the sausage is made, but
no. It's
okay.
It's one of those things. So there's different marketing things. So Freedom of Information Act, everything is public knowledge. So every county in America has a tax assessor site. If you own property, you are online somewhere. So let's say you're John Smith in Chicago, Illinois. I can go to Chicago, Illinois, look up the county, DeKalb County, or whatever counties. I forget the counties in Illinois, but just pick a county. I can search in that county, Illinois, tax assessor. You go to tax assessor site. Hey, I'm gonna search John Smith of 123 Main Street, and boom, property will pop up. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house on 4,000 square feet that was built in 1950. They bought it for 40,000, and that's all public information.
That makes sense now. Okay.
Every property out there is recorded somewhere online.
That makes perfect sense now. So you're out there looking, you're hustling, you're grinding, and you just pick one, and you see it virtually, and you're just like, you don't even care. You just take a chance.
It's a numbers game. So we talk to a bunch of people. So we do different marketing techniques. So for a lot of our clients, they do texting. So they'll pull a big giant list in Harris County, Texas, and text 1,000 people over the next 5 days, and then, hey, are you interested in selling your property? And then just start prospecting.
Wow, dude. All right. This is I didn't even know there was anything like this to this. I just thought, what you were saying, those HGTV people went in there and just bought the house for 20,000, then demolished it and built, a house for somebody who collects butterflies and whatever, and they have $1 million budget.
It's a whole nother business, man.
Okay.
It's a whole nother business. So real estate, there's agents, there's investors, there's brokers, there's commercial brokers, there's renters, there's landlords, there's warehousing, there's all these different sectors of real estate. There's note buying, there's wholesalers that find deals, there's so many different sections of real estate. You just gotta pick one and you make a ton of money.
So all right, so is the hive mind is that your full-time gig, or doing the automation stuff, or is the real estate your side gig, or are they both full-time gigs, or what?
Right now I'm a full-time podcaster.
Oh, nice. Let's go.
So, and I joke around like that because this is what brings in clients. So I do podcasting. We have a podcast called the Hive With Us Podcast Network that's about to hit 200 episodes next month. And I do a lot of podcasting to bring awareness to what we're doing. We educate We provide software, we provide tools for people to learn how to do this, and they go out and make money. We've had 7 clients have 6-figure months.
6 figures in a month.
Six
Bro,
figures a
I was
month.
like, did I hear that right?
Months. Oh, yeah, I want to clarify. Yeah, we've had 7 clients at 6-figure months since we started, and we started last February. So we've had way more hit 6 figures in general, but I like keeping track of 6-figure months.
Dude, it's sexy, man. I mean, damn. I mean, some people probably don't even see that in years, obviously. But yeah, just kind of touching on what you said though, podcasting is almost the way to go now, just as far as spreading out information and marketing. Just so many people are diving into the podcast world. I mean, there's been jokes out there. Almost everybody has a podcast right now, right? So,
but not really.
well, I mean, somebody else told me a stat that I forgot there's like millions and millions of podcasts, but only 20 or 25% of them are actually active or something like that. And that means active. They posted in with like 60 or 90 days or something like that. So yeah, it's just like, everyone's got a podcast, but how often are they actually, working at it, doing all that stuff? But yeah, man. So when you get people like these clients that are making 6 figures in a month, I mean, you bring them in, you teach them what they need to know, the ins and outs, and say go on.
It depends. So everybody's at different stages. Some people are like brand new at real estate, so we have to teach them like A to Z, like, hey, this is how you do it, this is how you do it.
That'd be me.
But other people, they've already done deals, so they just need something to control and automate their outreach in general. So that's where the CRM comes in. We're working on a new product just to deliver hot leads to them in general. So we're calling that Hive Leads. Anybody just that's hiveleads.io. And we're going to be instantly delivering hot leads to them where they'll have a larger chance to convert.
Nice.
Because prospecting, it's hard. So you can cold call bandit signs. You ever see a sign on the side of the road that says, hey, we buy houses or foreclosure? That's on my type of clients that we'll go out there, put those signs out and wait for people to call in.
Okay, that makes sense. And then they start virtually from there. Is it 100% virtually like you were saying?
We educate virtually. We do weekly calls to kind of bring Q&A. We kind of bring in guest speakers to cover different topics. It kind of varies depending on every week. It's kind of new information. Sometimes we talk about prospecting, sometimes about negotiations, sometimes talk about leadership. We talk about a lot of different things in general, but we educate our audience based off of whatever questions they have. But like one of my clients, he already did real estate. He already knew what he was doing, but he was using spreadsheets. So coming into this from spreadsheets, he was able to accelerate his business to make more money and do more deals. For now, he's doing like, he'll be our first millionaire that we've created. Shit. And he came from doing spreadsheets.
Does it matter what the real estate market's like? What everyone's saying that right now where it's so high and there's this time to be in it when it's so high, obviously. And that is a little scary that what's going to happen in the future. And, with the war and everything going on, it's going to be a plummet or a recession. And does that make things scary or what?
With what we do, we make money in every direction just because we have the knowledge and know-how to make anything a deal.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. Just some people, when things get rough and, from what I've been learning on here, like, oh, don't get in the stock market right now when things are bad stuff. But it's usually when the time, usually it bounces back, right? And that's the time you want to start catching those waves and get back and ride it when they come back. So
the best time to invest is when it's down because you're always going to make a great return. So I learned about the stock market when the stock market really dipped down in 2020. And I really wish I would have knew what I was doing then because I would just bought and held because I've seen people make such huge returns just buying right when it dipped. And because it recovered in 10 months from the pandemic. So like 2020 from I think it was February to December, like that was like peak time to get your money in there and make a killing. And I've seen people make millions just in a recession. Like recessions are people that make money ride the recession waves. If it's in the stock market and the real estate market, they're always waiting the recession waves in general because it's a huge opportunity to make a ton of money.
Sure. Yeah, I agree 100%. Just, like I was saying, people don't recognize, and, I'm not talking like I'm an expert in any of this, but, I have recognized that there are patterns of this shit and that, if you get in at certain times, as far as when it's down, when nobody's buying, that's the time you want to be buying and get it when nobody wants it. But when, you start buying when everybody wants it and it's, at the top of whatever it can go to a certain price or whatever you want in whatever market, that's when it starts to get a little scary because it can fall back down again. So yeah, as long as seems like you have patience and you're wise and like you just said, you have the ins and outs and know-hows of when it's up and down. Yeah, man, might get a little crazy out there for you, get a little bling bling.
It's just one of those things, man, where we can create opportunity in any market, and it's just looking for people that are looking to sell. So a lot of the people that we work with are people that are like, a lot of people think like, oh, I want to, like, people that rent, they're like, oh, I want to own a house, it's such a blessing, whatever. But there comes a point where you might lose your job and now it's a burden.
Yep. Yep.
So 30 years is a
Yeah.
long time to carry that burden before it's paid off. So a lot of times we help people transition from that. So like we helped homeowners, like, let's say you just bought a house and you're military and you get stationed somewhere else 3 months later. Like, what do? You have no equity to sell that house.
Sure.
The money you put down is pretty much gone. You're gonna lose. You have to bring money to the closing table to sell this property.
Sure.
And those people we help because we take over payments and stuff like that, just to take over the house where they can not get a foreclosure on their record, because now it's just crazy situation. So we help people that don't know a way out, and we help them out of the situation.
There's probably a ton of people that are like that. You know, like I didn't even know that having a foreclosure on your record was something.
It can affect your credit to 7 to 10 years where you can't buy a house.
Oh shit! I didn't even know that. You know, I just bought my first house. Maybe what have I been in here 6-7 years ago now? But you know, I kind of like you, I just was going off. Well, not even like you, but I was going off what people were telling me, just saying, you know, don't sell it within 5 years, you won't get your money back and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't know that. You know, if you got a foreclosure on your thing or whatever, I thought you could just foreclose, like whatever, screw it, figure it out later. But damn, yeah, I just guess there's a lot of people like that are very naive to this market. They just don't know, right?
I mean, it's not even, you don't know what you don't know. A lot of people aren't educated in the space. So there's thousands of people that just come across it, especially now with everybody with COVID not working for months and possibly losing their job, and they're on forbearance, and now they have to come up with $20,000 to reinstate their mortgage. Like, they're stuck between a rock and a wall. You know, they're just stuck. They can't even see a way out because they don't have the knowledge to understand how to get out.
So were you just learning this constantly all your life, and you just now you just?
I learned on podcasts and YouTube.
It's what most people are doing. That's what I've been doing: YouTube education and podcasting, man. Where I get most of mine. If I want to learn something, look it up, research it. I mean, you got the power to do it now, so why not? I mean, there's really no excuse you can say that, oh, I don't have time or whatever. If you've got time to look at your phone or a screen, you can probably learn something.
So I'm originally from the trucking industry. So I've been an entrepreneur for 4 years. I haven't worked for anybody. When I was pivoting into entrepreneurship, I was trucking. So all I did was drive and listen to podcasts and stuff. So I really took that time, and because I had a bunch of free time just to educate myself.
Yeah.
So I'm a product of podcasting and YouTube in general. So I really try and get back to the community.
Well, how was the trucking industry? You just decided that, hey, I don't want to drive anymore. I want to go out on my own and take a chance.
It's a pain in the ass, man. Trucking is a pain in the ass. So actually, I used to load trucks, drove trucks, started my own trucking company, and then I went to real estate.
So how long did you do trucks for, though, and stuff?
I drove for 2 years with a company, and then I started my own company and drove for 2 years for myself.
Okay.
And then I pivoted out of trucking. My trucking company went to shit.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Was that one of your first entrepreneur startups? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got like I said, you got to take a chance, and not every time everything's going to be successful all the time, right? So
you gotta pivot. And there's a phrase I heard recently. It was not like, because pivot is like a hard stop. You got to transition.
Yeah, you just got to keep it moving, right?
Keep it moving. So you got to switch your feet up. So not everything works out the first time. I mean, most new businesses fail within 2 years. And I was kind of pissed off because I'm like, I'm not going to be a statistic. And I failed at like 22 months. I'm like, fuck.
Well, you had that grind, man. You had that motivation too, though. You know, a lot of people would just instantly be like, you know, fuck, shit, it didn't work. All right, whatever. I guess I'll just go back to working my 9 to 5 or a 9 to 5 and go like that. But yeah, man, you know, I've said it on here a lot of times that, you know, a lot of success is just keep showing up and grinding it out and doing, just learning from your mistakes. And just, you know, a lot of people find that first, you know, wall and there's like, what you just said, like, fuck, you know, I ain't going to make it. So I guess I'll just go back.
That's right. Consistency exactly. In everything. So that's literally what separates the 90 from the 10% is just doing it.
Sure.
Like starting. 90% of people will not make it to the 10% because they will not start investing in their dreams. Yeah. To make it from the 10% to the 5% is being consistent.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if I would call me doing this podcast. I mean, it's like, but the first thing I've really done out there, kind of entrepreneurial, I guess. Right. But that was my whole, I guess, philosophy behind this is that, hey, keep showing up, keep putting content out. You'll probably be dog shit at it, obviously in the beginning. And I'm not saying I'm great at it now, but if you just keep grinding it out, maybe that dog shit will turn into something eventually down the road. But you got, what do they say? Put in your 10,000 hours to master a craft or whatever. So yeah, man, it's just like you just got to stay on it, and that was like my whole philosophy behind it. It's like just keep doing it, keep grinding it, keep finding people, keep doing what you got to do, keep doing the dirty work that nobody else wants to do, and it's like it's one of those success stories. And like this a success? I don't know, but I'm having fun doing it though. Still, while I'm doing it, like you said earlier, it's a good time still. But if it turns into something great, cool. If it doesn't, well, we'll see what happens next. We'll pivot.
What I like about podcasting, I always encourage a lot of my clients to podcast because it gets into the ability to conversate. It builds your own audience.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're seeing ramifications of that, and
sure.
Like everybody's like, oh, who gives you the right to teach and educate? I'm like, well, I did. I mean, I'm out here doing it, so that's what gives me the right to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't claim to be an expert in anything on here, but having conversations with you, like yourself, that I'm learning and stuff that I've never even thought I would be, talking about, on here, and that's the reason I try to keep it very broad with my podcast. Just because I don't know anything about real estate. I've always thought about how I should get into it, but as far as buying land and stuff like that, I don't even know where the first step is. When I bought my house, I was almost a nervous wreck because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, how am I gonna get these fucking loans, man? Like, what do I do?
So check this out. I got some stories if you want to learn about real estate.
What's up, man? All right.
The real estate path. Okay, so my first deal. Check this out. I was living in Atlanta at the time, and I had PPC marketing, which is pay-per-click marketing.
Okay.
So I essentially had a website up, and I paid for Google Ads. It's for marketing. I hated calling and texting and doing all this stuff. So I'm like, let me have them come to me. So I paid for Google Ads. I had Google Ads up. This lady hit me up, and she lived outside of Atlanta, but she owned a property in Florida. And I'm like, we'll see what she says. I was so nervous to talk to this lady. I didn't even talk to her. I was like, let me just email her. I got her email. 20 emails later, we negotiated on a price. The lot, I think, was worth about $25,000 at the time.
Okay.
And she was motivated because she was getting letters in the mail for fines from the city because people were dumping on her property from code violations.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, would you take $4,523.86? Is made up a number. She's like, can you do 5,000? I'm like, yes, 5,000. Boom, sent over the contract. I did not talk to her, right? So I have a contract for 5,000
Right.
I was like, how am I going to sell a property in Florida when I live 6 hours away? Like, I'm not going to Florida. So what do? You post it on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace.
What? Okay.
Facebook Marketplace. I posted the deal. Hey, I have 4,000 square foot lot. Google Street View, screenshot. Here's the lot. Go check it out. Let me know if you're interested. Just let it up there. 2 days, a guy messages me. I put it up for 15. He's like, I'll give you 12 for it.
Done.
So I'm like, I negotiated him like 12. I sent him the contract. Next morning, an agent hits me up. Hey, I'm representing so-and-so. I understand you guys came to agreement for this property for $12,000. I need to be an agent. I'm like, man, I don't want to pay an agent. Like with this, it's just straight money. Like,
yeah.
I pay her 5. He gives me 11. He gives me 15, and it's a done deal.
Sure.
It was $12,000. So we agreed on $12,000, not 15. I had it up for 15. He said, like, I'll give you 12. So
right.
We agreed on 12. So the agent's like, I need to be a part of this deal. I'm like, dang it. So I did the math, and agent fee is like 3%. So I'm like, 12,000 times 3% is, I think it was like $400. I'm like, fuck it. So I was like, whatever. So she's like, she agreed to the her buyer's fee, whatever. I put it all in escrow. Never talked to the seller. I never talked to the buyer because I make Marketplace. I only talked to the agent and the escrow, and got mailed a check for $6,500.
What, dude? Wait, do real estates have to, or agents have to be in that though? Was she just trying just to get her thing? I mean,
so I can do a deal directly with you. Let's say you wanted to sell your house. Right. I can negotiate a deal with you. I don't have to have a license. I don't have to do nothing. I just, hey, I'll buy your house for $250,000. Here's the contract. I'll send it to a closing attorney or escrow attorney, and they'll handle all the paperwork. And I'll wire $250 to escrow, the title company. You just hand over the deed, and we can do a transaction.
That's what I was thinking. But yeah, so
He got an agent because he wanted to make sure the paperwork was done right, and that's why he got an agent.
Okay. So
So,
you can
like I
opt
said,
in. Okay.
yeah, it's one of those things where you can have people help you out, but it's one of those things where it's not necessary.
So as
That
long
was my first deal.
so as long as you, that's well, I mean, that's a pretty badass deal, man. Just come out hot like that, man. But I mean, I guess I can kind of get it. You want somebody to make sure you are doing everything right. But I mean, I feel like what we were just talking about with, YouTube education and Google and stuff, you probably could for the most part, as long as you're not a complete idiot.
So it's the title company. The way I assure people that everything's done properly is a title company. The title company is an independent third party that's going to get paid, but they're going to make sure everything is done properly on my side and on your side. And that's how it's done.
Okay.
So the title company is the independent third party to make sure everything's done properly.
Got you. So that was your first deal coming out. And what were you thinking? You're like, oh, this shit's easy. I'm on a roll here. I'm going to
It
be
is so
making
fucking
bank.
hard. I had a deal that I was going to make $27,000 on, and the dude ended up passing away the weekend before close.
Oh, shit.
Crazy.
Yeah. What happened?
He had a stroke.
Oh.
He had a stroke the weekend before close. We were supposed to close on a Monday. He had a stroke on a Friday. And then, like, I don't want to be the asshole, like, hey, you still want to sell this property to the family member? So I kind of
that's tough, man.
a bit. And I didn't know when to follow up because I'm like, when's the right time to follow up? Like, I met this guy. I took him to the house. He showed me the house. He was in his 80s. He almost fell down the steps. I'm like, bro, calm down.
Yeah, dude, that's probably been a tough situation though sometimes, man. I couldn't imagine, how do you, I mean, I'm sure there are dirtbags out there like that who would just, try to get away with whatever they can anyway. But yeah, man, that's still tough.
So the property is worth about, when I initially contracted, it was worth about 300. I contracted it for 100 and I was going to sell it to somebody else for 127. Dude passed away, ended up selling it a year and a half later for 100 again. The family members passed through the probate process and they sold it for 100 again. And that property's worth like 400 now.
What? Oh man. Damn. So
craziness.
Yeah, dude. I mean, do you ever just beat yourself up with stuff like that when you just, or is it you just kind of move on? Is it really one of those things that, in the stock market, you can't really have feelings for these stocks and get emotional over, like, if you're losers and winners and stuff, you just move on to the next one, right? You just take your L and whatever.
There is infinite deals out there. Infinite deals. I mean, every property that you pass by, commercial, industrial, office, land, there's all opportunity there. Every single one.
Doesn't matter. So, I mean, I always see, signs where I'm in a pretty rural area here in Virginia. So there's always signs like, 4 acres, 5 acres, 6 acres, whatever it is, even 20 acres. And it's just, but I always see them, and some of them is just like, oh, I was riding with my family one day and they're like, oh, no, it's probably bad land. You don't want that or whatever. And it's like, well, I mean, land is land, right? They're not making any more of that. So there's got to be something to it, right?
So we love land because it doesn't cash flow. So most people like messing with the house spaces because it has actual value. You can look at the neighboring house that just sold 6 months later, it's a verifiable comp. We like land because it does the opposite. Like, there's no verifiable comps. It doesn't make any money. It just loses money every year because they have to pay taxes.
Okay.
So people get fed up with it pretty quickly. Most people that buy it, they buy it at a discount. We just ask for a deeper discount. So this is my partner's story. He does a lot more. He does like the land side of what I do now.
Okay.
Like, I couldn't do like full-time real estate software and all this stuff. So my partner, who's my co-founder of HiveMind, he does a lot of the real estate side. So for him, he messaged a guy and he had like a $30,000 lot. And he's like, I want to sell my lot. Make me an offer. He's like, I'll give you $9,000 for it. And he's like, no, I need 15. I'm like, all right, whatever. Let me know. So the dude actually followed up with him like 3 months later. And he's like, hey, I heard you're interested in my lot. What, can you give me 15 for it? He's like, dude, I told you I'd give you 9 for it. He's like, okay, I'll take the 9. So he gets under contract for 9,000. What he does is he puts it on marketplace for $9,000 down, 500 a month for 5 years. Sold it in like 2 weeks.
Are a lot of people putting their stuff like that on marketplace?
Marketplace is
what?
And
I didn't know. I mean, I would never think of looking for land, houses, or anything on marketplace, man. But I guess it's just like everything else. Shit.
So, and like he said, he makes 500 a month for 5 years.
Yeah.
and he sold it for like $35,000
Damn. Nice.
with $9,000 down. So the 9,000 he just handed it to the other guy, and then he makes 500 a month off of it.
Okay, well, let's go. Nice. So do you think land is a better way to go?
It's up to you, man. There's so many. I've heard people walk into. I heard a couple. They were trying houses. Houses is like the most competition in general. There's some people that want houses.
Sure.
But I heard this couple that was in the Facebook group I was in, and they're struggling with houses too. So they kind of learned about multifamily. So they ended up finding a mom and pop, not necessarily a mom and pop owner, but it was just a person that owned 60 units, but they're like older. So they negotiated with the owner 100% owner financing over with like a 20-year term, and they just handed the keys to this person.
Well, I mean, why? They would just hand the keys over?
Yeah. So what we do is we try and negotiate win-wins. So the win-win is that she no longer has to manage the property, but she gets cash out from it.
Okay.
So if she were to sell her 60 unit, let's say it's worth 600, let's say it's worth $1 million, she'd have to pay capital gains on that.
Yeah.
So she would lose 300,000 just by selling it full price, cash, or financed, right? So what they do is like a lot of people that operate in that space, they already know owner financing. It's like, hey, I'll pay you 1.2 million owner finance over 20 years. And like, okay, I'll go retire now. So they already own the property free and clear. They just hand over the keys, then they create a terms as far as the rents, as far as the payment per month. And they essentially walked into a 60 unit complex, owner finance 100%.
Did you have to build up your negotiation skills, or were you one of those guys that kind of already had a second, sixth
knowledge, man?
It's the knowledge.
It's the knowledge. It all comes back to the knowledge, man. If you understand negotiations, real estate, and even taxes, like even if you go to somebody like, hey, would you owner finance $1 million? You'll pay less taxes. Like you have to know how to explain that to somebody who doesn't know, but sometimes they understand. They're like, yeah, I was going to do that anyway. I'm just looking for the right person to come across. Like a lot of people that operate in that high level space already understand taxes. They already understand owner financing. So it's just looking for the right person to come across and do the deal with.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
So I came across a little warehouse. It was a 2-unit warehouse. One was an auto body shop, and the other one was a renter that he rented it to. The auto body shop owned the whole building. So for him, he's like, I'm looking to retire. I'm not going to sell my business to anybody. I mean, it's an auto body shop. Who's going to buy it? So, and he owned the building too. So most people that do real estate, they just want the real estate. They don't care who rents it, and they don't want a business. So he was stuck in between a hard space because he had a business and real estate, and didn't want to sell the business without the real estate, and didn't want to sell the real estate without the business because he had employees that he built the business with over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So he wanted to sell it cohesively. So there's people out there that they're willing to do a deal just for people to keep everything together.
Oh, okay, man. Yeah. So yeah, just doing your homework and keep staying up on the game, right? I mean, just knowing the ins and outs, it's like you've been saying, but yeah, dude, it's got to be a little overwhelming at first, but it just comes with you a little bit by little bit by little bit, right? I guess over time.
This real estate game is they call it. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a get rich eventually scheme. Yeah. That's all it is.
Well, those are the ones you don't want. You don't want the get rich quick schemes just because they're usually, like you just said, a scheme or something fake and it's not real. I mean, I've always read be wary of those, obviously. So yeah, but just get rich eventually. Yeah, it's kind of what we were saying earlier. Keep grinding it out, learn about it. But yeah, man.
I have another story. So
hit me.
I have tons of stories like this.
Good. Let's hear them.
So I was in San Antonio. I met a commercial broker. And she's been a commercial broker for like 15 years. Straight buy the book, work with buyers, work with sellers, 100%. Buy the book. I'm a buyer's agent. I'm a seller's agent, 100%.
Okay.
And she learned about what we do about wholesaling and assignment contracts. So assignments are when you sell the paper. So if I contract your property for $250 and I sell it to another end buyer for $300, I'm just pushing paper. I don't have to actually put up the money to buy it. So she learned about this, been in the real estate business for 15 years, but didn't know about this side of it because she just didn't know. She didn't know what she didn't know. So she learned about this within like 6 months. She ended up selling an apartment complex, made $200,000 on one deal. And she's like, I'm never going to be an agent again.
Can't say I don't blame her, man. Almost $250,000 right there. Bro.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I had a client literally 2 weeks ago made $101,000 in one deal
You blowing my mind with this stuff.
on an 8-acre lot.
Just 8 acres made that much. Is that rare or is that?
It happens. It happens. If you're out here doing the work, something's like this it's gonna come across. It's gonna happen. So for him, he said he was working. It was $20,000 behind in taxes, and they're leaving the country. So they made the deal. It was like, hey, as long as you pay the back taxes, you can have it.
Shit. Okay.
So he ended up selling it for 120, 19 in taxes, went to the taxes, 101 profit.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but is it one of those things like, it takes money to make money to get into this? I mean, not everybody can just go, here's $20,000, right?
There's 3 things you need to do real estate: time, money, and knowledge. Time, money, knowledge. So there's people that have the knowledge, and they have the money, so they'll invest people to have time. They'll hire people out to do the time.
Sure.
There's other people that have time, so they'll partner with somebody that has the knowledge to kind of fill that gap. The money is the only thing you need to do real estate, that you don't have to have any of the other 2. But if you don't have money, you definitely need the time, and you definitely need the knowledge, or you need the money. At least you need one of the other ones. But money is the only thing that kind of shortcuts everything, because you can hire people that have the knowledge and time to do whatever you need to do. But you gotta have time or money.
So
you can partner somebody with the knowledge.
So the money, you get to a certain point, you can just surround yourself with some trustworthy people and make them do the work, hopefully, and then you all, I guess, your whole team reeks in on the benefits. But yeah, but Tom, so for example, let's say if I was getting into this, metaphorically speaking, and I try to, let's say I got a couple grand or whatever, and I'm going to look for something in my ballpark, right? Then I'll just try to, make a little money off that, use my first day one sale or whatever, then use that profits to go into my next sale and just start building my empire like that, right? Since I don't say if I don't have the money, right? But I'm putting in my time, I put my knowledge in. That's how I'm going to build my money.
Yeah.
Just like the straightforward.
100% possible. You can do it with time alone. You'll need the knowledge to understand the business a little bit, but you can put up. There's free resources out there. I mean, you can drive on your way to work, just drive a new route and see potential properties that look distressed.
Yeah,
that's a free way to do every day that you're driving around, and just look for physically distressed properties, no matter what type of property it is.
And you were going up and talking to these people. Would you go up there and like, hey, this looks like they haven't took care of this in years, but you would go up and just knock on the door and be like, hey, man.
There might not be anybody there. So we use different tools and resources. So you can look on the websites to figure out who the owner is.
Like you said earlier.
What I'll do is, if I see a distressed property, I'll look it up. Hey, no one lives there. I'm not going to knock on the door. No one lives there. I mean, I can go online, no one lives there. Because what it is they have absentee and owner-occupied properties. So what's the difference? Owner-occupied is 123 Main Street, and I live here. So my mailing address goes to 123 Main Street, right?
Okay.
Absentee means 123 Main Street, but it goes to 546 Johnson Street. That means the mailing address goes somewhere else. That means they live somewhere else.
Oh, so they just still own it.
It's either going to be vacant, rented, or family's going to live there. One of the 3. That's it.
Okay. So yeah.
So it's really easy to tell if the owner lives there, and you always want to talk to the owner. So if I go to 123 Main Street, I pull it up, and John Smith of 567 Johnson Street lives there, or that's the mailing address. I know if I knock on the door, it's probably going to be rented. So there's no point in knocking on the door. I need to talk to the decision maker, which would be the owner.
Of course. Well, damn, man. I know this is I feel like we're kind of you are making this sound easier than what it is, but obviously it's hard. It is, yeah. It's not, anything worth doing is not easy, right? Is that what they say? Everybody would be doing it then.
It took me 7 months to get a deal.
Oh.
But I had a full-time business that I was operating a trucking company at that time, and I was doing real estate in my free time, and it took me 7 months. It's different for most people. I've seen people get deals on their first phone call. I'm like, what the lucky as heck.
Yeah.
Or in their first 30 days. That's even lucky. One of my clients that we just interviewed on our podcast, he still works as a roofer, but he's done 6 deals. He's done 10 deals in 6 months, and that netted almost 70 grand.
Not bad.
It's crazy because it took me 7 months to get my first deal.
Yeah.
So
were you almost giving up at that point? 7 months trying to get or were you just like, nah, to stay on it, man? To stay on, I know it's going to happen.
I was on it because like I said, I was spinning my wheels. I needed to do something else, and it was just one of those things. I had to do something else. Had to.
Yep. You also had your trucking company go too, so you still had some type of income, right? So you weren't completely probably stressed out.
No, I was stressed the fuck out.
Okay.
It was bad, man. When I was in trucking, it was crazy. So I did trucking for a little under 2 years.
Right.
We grossed 550, and I still lost 100 grand.
Does that cause it cost so much to operate a trucking business, or
the operating expenses for trucking is insane, literally insane. Like, think of these publicly traded trucking companies. You know what their margins are?
I have no clue.
1%.
How much?
1%.
One? I had no idea.
1% is what their profit margin is. Every $99 they bring in, they only keep
$1.
$100.
How can that be? I mean, in my area, I live near a Volvo trucking and Mac thing where I'm at, pretty close. And I mean, I think they do pretty well as far as workers there and stuff. They do pretty well, but is that because of everybody they're paying and all the parts and obviously and just to even buy a truck right now is the 6 figures, right, or more?
New truck, yeah. New truck's going to be about probably 130 right now.
Yeah, so obviously you got that, then you got gas, and then you got everything else. Damn, man.
It's just like on paper as a new company, you're starting at like 10% profit margin, and then it just goes down from there because there's just so many people in your pockets. So you got drivers, fuel, insurance, maintenance, equipment, employees. It just
Keeps going on and on.
It just goes on and on.
I never thought about that. You blew my mind with that $1 margin right there, man, dude.
So if there's a company called Old Dominion, which is like the best. They're the highest grossing trucking company. That's the company I used to work for.
Okay.
Their gross profit margins were 3.5%.
So why was that? Just because they got so big?
They were doing 3 times better than everybody else.
I mean, they were just that much better?
Yeah.
I mean, what were they doing different than everybody else? You know?
Well, I mean, Old Dominion is a whole nother thing. I think they provided more quality service because I did work for other trucking companies.
Okay.
And they didn't give a shit. They just brought in money and it was just fucking. But those other companies still made 1%, but they're bringing in billions of dollars, billions. So they're still making a lot of money, even after spending billions of dollars.
I'm with you now.
But 1%.
But 1%. Damn, man. Well, I mean, I admire you, dude. I mean, your grind and your work ethic, just sitting there, still trucking and still just learning and wanting like, hey, there's better ways than doing this, man. I mean, I know truck driver. I don't really know any. I know a couple of them. I used to work for in high school. I was at what do you call it? Like it was a wholesale fruit distribution warehouse or something. We would load 18-wheelers all day and send them out to like, the major supermarkets and stuff. But those truck drivers, man, they would just stay on the grind every day. But yeah, man, I mean, I thought they did pretty well, but they seemed.
The drivers might do well. Like my first year of driving, I did $96,000. Mind you, that was anomaly because I was at a really good paying company.
Yeah.
And I worked my ass off for that shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how much are you driving a day? It's all changed, ain't it?
No. I was under regulation back then. So
okay.
With trucking, you can work up to 14 hours a day. You can only drive up to 11. You have to take your first lunch break before 8 hours. So it's like really long days and you work 24/7 pretty much because even if you're not at home, you're still working. It sucks. It's just
were you getting to scope out a lot of property though, just doing your drives? Like while you were like, ooh, I could get that one.
Oh no.
That might be me. Well, I guess you're mainly on the interstate too, probably.
Yeah, I was mainly on the interstate, all interstate miles. And like I said, I use that time to educate myself.
That's the way to do it, dude. Dude, I admire that, dude. Did you go to college or anything, or you just came out?
I went to college for 2 years, but it was a waste of time.
I don't doubt it, man.
For me, it was one of those things where I didn't know at 18, I'm like, I didn't know what to do. Like,
sure.
Kind of get pushed out into adulthood. And like,
I was one of those guys, dude.
Everybody's going to college, and I kind of went to college, and I didn't I failed all my classes because I was just like, I'm here. This is where I'm supposed to be, but what do I do?
Yeah, yeah. You were just, you were just being told. It's one of those things I've said on here too before. You want like college is almost teaching you, or even education in general, teaching you what to think and not really how to think. And it's just there's, I was one of those guys. I just went to, I went all the way to get my master's and stuff. But I went to community college first because I had no clue what I was doing. I was like, I came out of high school, all my friends were doing their thing, going to college and stuff, and I didn't really get in anywhere. So I was like, I'll go here, but I didn't know why I was going there, just because I was supposed to.
Man, I was in that same trap, man. Like I didn't know. Man, I feel like I didn't have a direction. So I was like 21. I was like a lost puppy out there.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
dude.
like
I mean,
I
I was
was
kind of,
definitely
yeah, I've kind of found my way, I guess. And I stayed in it, obviously, but I still, going through college, it's like, I don't know why I'm majoring in this because I just feel like I have to. It's like, do I really want to do this? I don't know. It's just, I felt like it was only because everyone told me to, and that was what I had to do.
yeah, college is one of those things where like it's just a wasted time. Wasted time.
But I mean, it's something like what we've been talking about tonight. I mean, I guess they have real estate classes in college now and stuff. I don't even know, but at high school level, I mean, I don't remember learning anything like this.
The best education you can get is actually doing it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Just with
That's why
anything,
that's
man.
why that's why apprenticeships are so huge, whether like electrician or
Sure.
plumbing, all that stuff. Like you're gonna get a way better education doing an apprenticeship than you will going to a community college.
Did you have a mentor kind of helping you out too along the way? I know you said we did podcasts and YouTube, but did you have somebody who kind of had been down the same road? Kind of like, hey, Daniel, man, this is the way to do it.
I didn't get a mentor till I was probably like a year in.
Yeah.
And it was just one I didn't even know who to ask. But like that's one of the big things is like we do a community now, so like you can go ask people in our community, and there's people in there that are doing it to guide you down the right path, and we provide resources to guide you down the right path. It's like it's one of those things where I didn't even know those things existed when I was doing it. It was just
Sure.
one of those things you kind of find along the way, and you learn and do better.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it on here too plenty of times that, you just keep surrounding yourself with the right people. You're eventually going to get better and do better and get to a goal that you have planned out. If your goal is, make a six figures in, would you say, a month or whatever that one guy just did or something, whatever. Yeah, dude, I think it can be done. It might be hard, but yeah, it's there's ways of doing it. There's success stories out there. So
It's a grind, and it's just consistency, man. Being intentional with your time, being intentional with your knowing what your goal is. Like you can burn out of this real quick. Entrepreneurship is not for the lighthearted. Like
true.
I tell people I'm fucking crazy, man. Like
Well, you gotta be.
you got to be crazy,
You gotta be
man.
some part of crazy, man. I
This
mean,
is
look at
this.
you a sports guy. I mean, like look at Michael Jordan and stuff, man. I mean, the stories you hear on him, like, always wanting to win. If he got beat, he would sit out there or, playing pool till all day or all night long until he finally won a game or whatever. You got to have some type of, it's like a double-edged sword. It's good and bad. It keeps you there to keep you probably get your goals. But, also, if you're that one story, Michael Jordan was playing pool for probably 16 hours at one point. But look, he got to where he wanted to be. He wanted to
Yeah.
win.
It's a path. Like even now, like I've been self-employed for it'd be almost 4.5 years now.
Yeah.
Uh,
But it's cool. You got your own hours, you're your own boss, right? Yeah.
I hit 1 million in revenue in 4 years.
Nice.
So I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then like this year's looking like 1 million in revenue just year 5. So I'm like, at this rate, I might do multi-millions next year.
Let's
It's
go,
one of
man.
those things. It's one of those things where like, you really like you can't ask your boss for 100% increase year on year.
Sure.
You can get the entrepreneurship, but you can't get that at a job.
Ooh, that's a good point, dude.
It ain't gonna happen. If you want to bet on yourself and get a 100% raise annually, you're only gonna get an entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Yeah, and it might not be 100% every time, but hell, it could be 50%, right? I mean,
So here's the other thing: is that in entrepreneurship, you don't need to make as much money as you do as a job
how do you mean?
because um, if you make less money, you don't have to pay taxes,
Okay.
and you get opportunities for grants,
True.
SBA. For the pandemic, I actually got the EIDL. They gave me 20 grand for being self-employed. I'm like, all right. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that, dude. See, I miss out on all this stuff, man. I just don't
And
keep up with it.
this is one of those things where like you had to have an LLC that was predated the COVID, and they gave you they gave you free money. I'm like, I'll take it.
So you just use that money to turn into more money, probably, right?
Yeah, I have. I heard of a story. He has like millions of dollars in assets, but assets give you the ability to become less tax liable. The tax code is written for investors and business owners because they're actually producing and creating more money, whereas employees, no, just to any employees, they're actually the people that actually pay the most taxes. So if you're an investor or if you're a business owner, you actually get more tax incentives. So I heard of, I was just at a conference and this guy was telling me he has like multi-million dollars in assets, gets paid huge amounts of money. He still gets, like he still got the PPP loan and all this stuff. Like he
Yeah.
still gets all this government funding because he has so many assets that are depreciated that he on paper he doesn't make any money.
Interesting. Huh.
Paper doesn't make any money. So
How does that work?
in real estate, you can buy an asset and
Yeah.
how long do you live in your house?
I think about 7, 8 years now.
Okay, so you have to own your house for over 2 years before you can 100% depreciate your asset, depreciate your house. So us as investors, we can use that depreciation to mitigate our taxes, or we'll buy a property to mitigate.
Okay, I'm seeing what you're saying now.
So when you start making more money, the best way to pay less taxes is to buy more real estate because you can appreciate it and actually take a loss to pay less taxes. So
Yeah.
I have a was an acquaintance of mine. He has a restaurant that he loses $250,000 a year or more. He loses in the restaurant, but he just pays. It's all money that he doesn't pay taxes on.
Okay. Well, that seems to work too. Daniel, I know we're getting kind of short here, but I wanted to ask you, as far as that business automation and marketing goes, I mean, is there certain better, best ways? Because that's kind of what I've been looking at lately as far as marketing this, whatever you want to call it, podcast I'm doing and my life, I guess. But is there certain ways to give little hints and tips out there for people right now or what?
Sure. This is going to be just for you only because you're the special guest today.
Hell yeah.
So automation podcasting. So with a podcast, do you have a product or service you sell?
I guess that's this conversation. I wouldn't really say I'm selling any. Yeah, me.
You should start and create a product of how to start a podcast
Okay.
because you're successful at that.
Okay.
How many episodes do you have? How many episodes do you have?
Oh, dude, you're going to be over 100. So when this comes out,
you have a successful podcast because you have over 100 episodes. So you can create a product on how to start a podcast because for you, you know what RSS feed is.
Yep. How to learn all that shit.
People don't know what that shit is. Like when I started my podcast, I had to learn from A to Z.
I was the same way.
Stuff. So you as a podcaster, you're a successful podcaster who has over 100 episodes, you can educate people on how to start a podcast.
Cool.
So you can create a digital product.
Yeah.
Now what you do is you have the product of the podcast that everybody's listening to now. You can now offer it through your podcast.
Okay. It's coming together.
You can do educations and master classes on how to monetize your podcast because you haven't figured that out yet. So we'll talk about how to monetize your podcast, and that could be in your course is how to monetize your podcast. Getting affiliate partnerships, finding ads to put in your pre-roll, mid-roll, and end roll.
Yeah.
Charging guests to come on your show could all be revenue sources that you're not capitalizing on.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm taking notes here, man.
So how I do it is anybody that's interested in HiveMind, you can text me at 210-972-1842. The course, the keyword is course. You text the keyword course, it tells you how to make 6 figures on one land deal for $1. So what that is it's a lead magnet for people to come in.
Sure.
They text in, we collect their information, and now we introduce them to other products and services that we might offer, which is how to start a podcast.
I see where you're going, man. Okay.
So then you can create your own podcasting community and talk about how to find guests. Do a webinar of how to find guests. You know how to find guests.
Yeah.
Most people starting out don't know how to find guests.
Yeah.
How to find guests. Yeah. How to find the right guest.
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
carry a conversation. You can do education on that.
Mm.
You can do a community where you do coaching calls like once a month or whatever, group coaching calls to educate them and see how they're doing on their podcast, any hangups are stuck up on, how to find affiliate partners to push on their show, how to find the right people, and just different ways to monetize it.
Damn. Yeah, dude. I agree 100% with you, man. Just even one thing that when I started this, somebody was talking about, well, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to produce? What are you going to? I was like, dude, every conversation's content, dude. I mean, it doesn't, it's. I mean, look, there's some shitty podcasts out there, and there's some good ones, but yeah, I mean, just having a conversation with someone like you, that's content right there, and just learning from there. People are going to get some, only if. What do I always say? If like 99 people would say it's dog shit, but at least out of 100, but one person said it was good. It's like, hey man, at least someone got something out of it. So
So I heard through the grapevine. I haven't confirmed this is true. There's a podcast out there that he charges. There's two out there that charge $10,000 to $25,000 just to come on their podcast, one
what?
episode as a guest,
Really?
and they ask for affiliate links, and they ask for a portion of the affiliate links of revenue created, and that's how they make money on their podcast, including ads.
It's a lot of cheese, man. $25,000 come on a podcast? Damn, bro.
But
I guess you get a lot of returns.
this is through the grapevine. Person that paid $25,000 to get on the podcast ended up making 100,000 off of their high ticket product from getting on the podcast because they had a big audience. So a podcast can be used as ad revenue or ads in general. It's a way to get out to your audience. So one of the big reasons why I like podcasting is because it kind of creates a foothold into digital space. You leverage other people's audiences by becoming a guest.
Okay. I'm with you now. Makes perfect sense, dude. Yeah, just these little things, man, that people don't think about that you can.
So you, with 100 episodes and how big your audience is on podcasting, can leverage and charge potential guests, ads, all that space based off of your downloads. You can charge customers accordingly and monetize your podcast because something you already love doing.
Boom.
So I messaged a podcaster, request to be on, and they're like, hey, they offer me, could you push my course or pay me a flat fee of $175 to come on the podcast? So in my head, I'm like, I don't know. But in my head, I'm thinking about my numbers because I do about 20 a month. If I charge $175 to come on my podcast for 20 episodes, it's almost 4,000 a month.
It's a pretty good change just for that right there.
Just for charging clients to come on $150. And there's clients that will come on and pay you, but like I'm not asking my clients to pay for my.
Yeah. See, I've never even thought about doing something like that, having your guests pay you to come on,
but it makes sense. And the reason why they did it is because of the cost of content creation. So I have 2 video editors. I have a social media manager. Like that all costs, and everybody that comes on my show, they get shorts, they get the main video, they get all that stuff put out, all the graphics put out, and it's something I just do for free right now because I'm already doing it and I already have people in place.
yeah. But if you could easily,
but check this out. The reason why I like podcasting too in general is because if you can really get out your own product or service or somebody else's product and service, it's worth tons of money. So there's a big real estate podcast called Bigger Pockets. I DM'd them to see how much their ads cost.
Okay.
And they told me it was $10,000 for a 3-month commitment in ads. I'm like, hell no, I'm starting my own. Because you got to think, if they're charging $10,000 per ad spot, how many ad spots do they actually have available?
Right.
That they're turning into a cash flowing asset. So Bigger Pockets has the podcast. They actually have like four podcasts now, I think, that are under the original one. They have a blog, and they have a newsletter, a magazine. So they have all these different assets that are kind of leveraged underneath the podcast that they started that all make different recurring revenue sources.
Wow, dude. Makes perfect
So you, as you're starting a podcast for fun, can easily turn this into a cash flowing asset as your audience gets bigger over time by providing value and valuable content. You can turn this into multiple different assets in classes, or multiple different assets in general to create and monetize. So where HiveMind comes in is you can use HiveMind for calendars, you can use HiveMind for checkout pages, you can use it for You can kind of create your own Patreon thing. Like you could do that.
Yeah. I've been looking at that part too, so I don't know if I'm going to go down that road yet, but I've been
But
wanting.
it's one of those things where like you just have to monetize. Like if people see value in it, people will want to return that value back to you monetarily. So you have to create opportunity to accept that value.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So create an opportunity for your customers. Easy thing to do is apparel.
I've been looking at that. I have been looking at that too. But
Apparel, printful.com.
Printful.com. Daniel.
So apparel is such an easy way to monetize your audience, and it's something to get your name out there in general. So one of the things when we started HiveMind, we instantly started a dropshipping company through Printful and Shopify day one, because we gave out. Imagine if you did a giveaway for listeners to opt in for a free shirt,
hat or something. Yeah,
a free shirt or hat. How many people would opt in? Those are leads that you paid for $20 with a hat or shirt. So now you can really leverage and monetize the audience, because one of the biggest things about social media and stuff like this podcast in general is you're building an audience. Make sure you leverage that audience to make billions. This is what Kylie Jenner's, this is what the Jenners do. This is what Kanye does. This is what Rob Dyrdek does. Like he's on MTV making millions, leveraging his personal brand and branding. I saw a thing with him and I love ridiculousness. But
yeah, I used to get into that.
I know he has other shows, but one of his he pitched like his business idea of I forget the show, but he like pretty much does business, and that was one of his shows on MTV. And it brought him more business just by being on TV. And he made money off of selling it to a TV show. So now he's making money off the TV and getting more business just off the TV and TV show in general. So he's making money on top of money just by doing something he loved.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, we got to cut this a little short here. I got to get off here and wrap this up. But if people want to find you, find HiveMind, all that, where do they do that at? All that good stuff.
You can text me at 210-972-1842. Just text the keyword course or Hive. We have a Facebook group, HiveMind CRM, public facing group. If you're interested in real estate or anything like that, business automation, you check us out there. And we're on all platforms: YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We're on there. And we're just providing value. We're coming out with a book this year. We have an annual conference that we do. It's going to be in Fort Lauderdale this year, August 25th and 26th. You can check that out at thehiveislive.com/summit. And we're here to provide value, education, and hopefully make you into a 6-figure a month earner.
Boom. Daniel, thanks for being here, dude. This was just appreciate it, man. I got a lot of pearls and gems here tonight from you, dude. So thanks, man.
Power of podcasting, man. You learn from your guests.
There we go, man.
The show is sponsored by The List Guys. Do you need more leads in your local or virtual market? 1 in 10 small businesses don't invest in any kind of marketing. The List Guys have over 35 plus list types to choose from, and you can mix and match any list or criteria. We also use the skip trace list and provide up to 7 numbers and email addresses. Every list you purchase will be scrubbed against previous purchases. The List Guys are here to save you time. Contact the List Guys today at www.1listguys.com. That's www.1listguys.com.
All right. Anything else you need to say and get off or plug or all that good stuff? We out. Cool. All right, everybody, we're out. Be good to yourselves and all that good stuff.